Wipeout the Third is the sequel to the two past Wipeout games, and is supposed to represent the TV show. If no one knows, I actually did review the first Wipeout game. I gave it a low score because the only thing I really found entertaining about it was the ragdoll effect. But even that really wasn't enough to make me like the game a whole lot. Now I actually have played the second Wipeout game, and it was alright, but I found the game to be a little tedious considering the fact that it was full of glitches, had some odd camera angles, and for some odd reason gave the character you play as the crazy ability to jump very high in the air, passing pretty much every obstacle. I just found it ridiculous. As soon as I got into the third Wipeout, I expected it just to be like the second one with just a few slight differences. And I was kind of right. The game has a lot of things changed about it, and even though some of them are for the better, it doesn't make the game better than it already was. If you haven't noticed, one big difference right away is the new camera angle. In the past two games, the camera was based off on the right side, so you could see the whole entire obstacle. But now the camera is placed right behind your character, in more of a third-person, first-person type of thing. At first I was really bothered by this, because I prefer to see what obstacle I need to get by before going right onto it. But then eventually I kinda got used to it. Now I'm not saying the camera angle is better this way, but on some certain obstacles it actually felt kinda nice. Another new thing is the narrators of the show. John Anderson and John Henson have different looks. John Henson looks normal, but John Anderson, his head looks a little too big for his body. Just my opinion. And the other character they have is Vanessa Higgins, instead of Jill Wagner. Now if anybody is wondering what happened to Jill, I honestly have no idea. Around, I'm guessing, the 5th or 6th season of Wipeout, for some reason, Jill Wagner just randomly disappeared, and they brought Vanessa Higgins into the show. I don't know if Jill quit or if they fired her or what, but I obviously don't know why. Now, I don't dislike Vanessa Higgins, and I don't really miss Jill. In fact, I don't even really see the point of Jill or Vanessa Higgins being on the show at all. I mean, sure, John Anderson and John Henson are kind of important, but I don't really find Jill or Vanessa to be that important. I mean, sure, they ask the contestants questions and find out their personality, and they can make some funny side comments at times, but they were really more spectators, just kind of watching the contestants wipe out pretty much in an up-close view. I didn't really find them to be too special to the show. Another thing that's different about the Wipeout game is the courses that are themed. In the second Wipeout, you could choose if you wanted a winter setting or a summer setting. In the second game, there were two settings, winter or summer. It would happen off and on, and you really couldn't choose which one you wanted to pick. In the third Wipeout game, you don't get to choose if it's summer or winter, but there's a ton of themed type of Wipeouts. From Valentine's Day, to video game based, to Hawaiian, or even the Wild Wild West. Don't get fooled though, on the back of the box it says it has over more than 200 obstacles. But I played all of the themed Wipeouts more than 5 times, and they're all the same. Also, John Anderson and John Henson's jokes are funny, unlike the first and second one, but every time you replay the same themed game, they repeat it over and over again, which I found annoying. When you run an obstacle course, you can collect rings, and when you do collect a ring, it'll decrease a few seconds from your time. That's the whole point, trying to pass the obstacle course as fast as possible. And the final thing that's been added is that there's a leveling up system. When you level up, you'll have the ability to get new characters or clothes options, but I'll get into that stuff in a second. You can level up faster by depending on how fast you complete an obstacle course, or by how many rings you collect. When you do pass an obstacle course, you will get coins, and you will be able to shop for new items when you pick your characters. The items you select, from headgear, gloves, to shoes, will determine on how good you'll do on the obstacle course, from your balance to swimming. The only thing I really found important was how fast you'd run, but if you want to still get through quicker, the others could be important too. The graphics in the game look way better than the first two games. The first game was just awful, and the second game was alright, but they based the second Wipeout off the Xbox 360's Kinect Wipeout game. The graphics in this look a lot more bright and colorful. The controls in the game couldn't be any more simpler. A to jump, B or Z to slide, and the nunchuck to move your character, or I should just say back or forth. The game is pretty much on rails, even though you can choose how fast you want to go, but there will be times where you'll rarely be able to move left or right. There will also be a few obstacles where you'll have to do quick time events. You'll have to press the button in time to be able to get onto the obstacle. It's not a challenge at all, and it's really easy. The music in the game is pretty good. It plays some music clips from the actual TV show, and it changes during the replays. Now the game isn't perfect. It does have a few problems. One is that at times it can be very glitchy. There will be times where your character will freeze up and start to move randomly back and forth very fast and not even move. And there will also be times where you'll fall into the water, but the game won't register you wiping out. My last problem is a problem that's common with the other two games: the difficulty. The game is as challenging as clapping your hands. And come on, even a baby can do that. The game is so easy that I don't even know if it's possible to not even get in first place. Because every time I played it, I kept getting first place, and I knew something had to be wrong. Even though I wasn't wiping out, I figured I was getting some kind of slow times, so I did a little test. I got there at the 1 minute and 30-second mark, so I decided to wait there until the 5-minute mark, and then walked on. I figured giving the other competitors at least 4 minutes and 30 seconds of time would be enough to have at least one of them win, but it doesn't. I still won first place. Now, 5 minutes may not seem like a long time, but trust me, if you ran the course more than once, you would know how easy it is to get past it. Wipeout the Third is the best Wipeout game Activision has made up to date. Is it worth buying? Not really. I think it's definitely worth a rent, but it's not worth buying because the game just doesn't have a whole lot of content in it. Sure, the different themed wipeouts and the clothing store and getting new characters adds a lot of replayability, and especially the leveling up system. But the game only has about 30 minutes of content before you beat all the themed wipeout courses. And after that, you'll play all the other themed wipeout courses more than 3 times, and you will probably get bored of the game. I think the game is perfect for a weekend rent, but for buying it, not really. The game is great for playing with kids and for playing with your friends to try and beat your original times. I give the game a 6.5 out of 10, and again, I really just recommend renting it.